So lately, I've been spending quite a bit of time browsing Airbnb. What caught my attention was the amount of Hobbit holes available. There are a lot of them. Now let me tell you why I find this so exciting. Over the years, Airbnb has shifted its strategy. It started as a simple platform connecting tourists with locals who were renting out spare rooms. When you visited the site, you were greeted by budget rooms or shared flats. These days, however, you get tree houses, caves, and iconic buildings from popular culture. Airbnb has pivoted towards experiences, not mere accommodation. And thanks to the smaller scale and lower cost of individual homes compared to hotels, it's become a space for architectural experimentation with relatively low risk. There is a broad range of themed categories to explore. Among them are earth homes. In this category in particular, I found more than 30 Hobbit holes. They are quite diverse in appearance, so I define them by having round, or at least not rectangular, doors, green roofs, and that they are partially buried in the landscape. Most of the Hobbit holes are to be found in Europe, in England in particular. This is not surprising, as this is where Tolkien lived. The Shire was based on Sarahole, a picturesque village next to Birmingham. Not just the landscape, but the hobbits themselves was based on this setting. You see, hobbits are not medieval, despite the world in which they live. Instead, they are more like 19th century rural English people. They drink tea, smoke pipe tobacco, and eat potatoes. All these goods are the result of the colonies of England, which came in obviously much later than the medieval period. This is also evident in the clothes of the hobbits, which are waistcoats and pocket watches. I say this to demonstrate that hobbits and their holes should be understood as proposals for how modern people might live. Tolkien was inspired by William Morris and the wider arts and crafts movement, romantics who imagined a pastoral future of abundance, where people focused on crafts and beauty instead of the relentless pursuit of profit and industry. Now, why does it excite me so that we're starting to see these Hobbit holes appearing? Much of my work focuses on how since modernism there has been new architectural styles developing in virtual space, whether it be video games, movies, or simply illustrations. Most important are the works of Tolkien and how they have been represented. Interestingly, Tolkien uses descriptions of architecture as one of the primary ways of describing his world. And best example is the very first chapter of The Hobbit, which is a description of a Hobbit hole. And now we are seeing them realized, largely due to Airbnb, to be inhabited by real people in the real world. In my excitement, I've even contacted a few owners of Hobbit holes to see if my intuitions are correct. Marsha, owner of a Hobbit hole in Tennessee, told me this. And Marsha, if you ever see this, I apologize for my terrible voice acting here. I just thought I'd have some fun with it. I believe Airbnb is great at incentivizing specialized buildings because we are able to keep prices on the higher end of our market because of the demand for Hobbit holes. My husband did the interior design of the building, and the construction of the building was done by a dear friend of mine and his brother. It is 100% custom designed, and we are very proud of their work. We have a lot to learn from hobbits, a strong sense of community, their life is very much in sync with the earth, and occasionally they're even up for an adventure. I think fantasy architecture can inspire architects to develop new styles, and the Hobbit hole is the perfect example. I think it successfully bridges what has become a very polarized divide between the modern architects and the lay people who say they prefer traditional architecture. It ticks a lot of the boxes that are favorable in the architectural discourse these days, such as self-build, sustainable building methods, fostering biodiversity, and vernacular building techniques, to name a few. Yet also, It very much appeals to those who prefer traditional architecture because of its picturesque and nostalgic appearance. For me, the crucial thing is that it does so in a way that feels fresh. And you can see some of these hobbit holes in particular that start breaking away from the original design from the movie and introduce a more modern and refined elements such as these glass facades. Now, what do you think? Would you like to stay in a hobbit hole? I've linked to all the hobbit holes I found on Airbnb below for those who are interested. And as always, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.